Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here today. My name is Denise. I'm also known as heywigsister on Instagram and Facebook. Today I'm here to bring you a wig review. I'm here to show you Belle Tress Vienna Roast in the color Cola with Cherry. And there is the tag. I am wearing Vienna Roast right now, and if you'd like to see more about this super cute style, she's heat friendly, she's kind of shoulder length, beautiful, beautiful waves, then stick around and I'll tell you everything that I know about this one. Before we get too far into this review, I would like to thank Name Brand Wigs. Once again, we have partnered quite a few times in the past few weeks on some wig reviews, and I'm just thrilled to be working with them. There are so many great styles out there right now that need some attention, and while Vienna Roast has been reviewed a number of times by other reviewers, I have never personally had a chance to see her, and I've been so curious. They were very gracious to allow me to review this one by request, and so I'd like to thank them, and I would really encourage you guys to give some of these retailers that work with reviewers some love, not for selfish reasons, but because the more wigs we have to show you guys as reviewers, the more wigs that you'll be able to research and learn more about before you potentially spend your hard-earned money on them. So check Name Brand Wigs out. It's namebrandwigs.com. They are a fabulous retailer. They're on my list of trusted retailers, and they are a part of Joshua 24, which is a faith-based organization, and it is just a really fantastic retailer. So if you have not purchased from them, I highly encourage you to check them out. And again, namebrandwigs.com. All right, guys, let's look at this style. I'm going to show you her all around, then we'll start talking about it. So first of all, I have said this in other reviews for Belle Tress, but there is something really special about these heat-friendly fibers. I absolutely adore the way these fibers feel. This is really luxurious. They're very, very realistic feeling, very healthy hair. This is like somebody who has not over-processed their hair. It's soft and smooth and silky, and I just love the way these fibers feel out of the box. And so that is one plus in the plus column for Belle Tress wigs. They're really, really fabulous. They are heat friendly, and so you'll want to keep that in mind if you're not familiar with heat friendly wigs. I have a new wig wear series where I break down a lot of details about wigs, and in my first episode, I think, is where I talk about all the different types of fibers. Heat-friendly fibers are special because you can take heat to them up to 350 degrees, but you want to be very careful about exposing them to too much friction, like the kind that they get by rubbing on clothing, because they are a little bit more delicate and they can get frizzy and frayed more quickly than regular synthetic. It's really easy to remedy that with heat. The challenge that I have found is when you get a curly or wavy heat-friendly piece, it can be really challenging to care for those wigs with heat without harming the curl and the wave. So something to keep in mind. Do more research on this topic if you are not familiar with heat-friendly wigs. But there is something really awesome about them, and the feel is wonderful. You can add more curl to this. It is more difficult than adding curl to human hair, and there are lots of tutorials out there. I hope to bring one to you guys someday, but that's not something I've really tackled a whole lot. I want to give you that disclaimer though, because I know I have a lot of new wig wearers who watch my reviews, and I personally bought a heat-friendly piece as my first ever piece. It was a topper, and I had no idea it was heat-friendly. I had no idea what that meant, and I really had no idea how to care for it. So it was definitely a bit of a disappointment to me. I wish I would have known more than I did at the time. Let's talk about Vienna Roast. I keep wanting to call it Amaretto. I don't know why, but Vienna Roast. She is really, really pretty. This is a low, moderate density, no poof, girls dream hair, really. This has no permatease. There is no added poof to this. If there's any volume coming across on your monitor or screen right now, it's because these waves make it appear that there's a little bit of volume here on the sides, but there is no poofy, pillowy permatease. There's no non-poofy permatease. There is no permatease. And the volume I would call low to moderate density. It's not such a low density wig that I worry about seeing the wefting or any of that, but it's fairly low density. And so for someone who likes to get volume in their wigs, who likes poof, who likes to sort of get some lift in their wigs, you are getting none of that with this one. It is frankly the one complaint I have and the one concern I have about it for me personally is the lack of poof. I do like myself just a little bit of permatease and volume on the top. What is really awesome about it are these waves. This is just a soft wave, the kind that you might get if you use a flat iron to put curl in your hair, or a large barrel curling iron that's just going to put sort of a body wave in it, but not a full-blown curl. What's great about that is it's casual and it doesn't seem too overdone. And what I really like about it is the symmetry of these waves. Some of the Belle Tress wavy wig styles have a very deconstructed, messy wave. Kona comes to mind. This one is a lot more shaped and kind of settled than Kona. I had had a Kona in the past, and that wave pattern was quite messy and deconstructed. This one is a little bit smoother, which actually for my own preference I really, really appreciate. As far as the comfort and the weight of this wig, it is very lightweight because it doesn't have a ton of hair and it doesn't have any permatease, and it's a very comfortable wig. The Belle Tress caps do run a little large. I would say they're big head friendly. There are exceptions. I have had a few Belle Tress wigs where the caps felt quite a bit smaller than I was used to. But this one, this particular piece is running sort of true to that larger average range that I have found Belle Tress to run. So they're basically, I would call sort of an average large cap. So they've got a lot of room. I get a lot of extra cap. They have a ton of stretch. And so they definitely fit someone with a bit of a larger head measurement than your kind of typical average. I do know some wig sisters who kind of are more petite average who struggle with the Belle Tress wigs because they're a little bit larger. And I have one in particular who's a local wig sister who just takes them in. She just takes some needle and thread. She sews a few of the wefts together in the back, and that makes the cap a little bit smaller, and then it fits her a little bit better, but it's not permanent. So that's something else on a Tip Tuesday list for me that I'd love to show you guys so that you will have some more options. So you can see that curl right here. So let's talk about the cap features. So this one has a mono part. It's a left hand mono part going to the right, so your typical mono part. And then it has a lace front. And I'll show you that lace front before I take the cap off. Let me get close here. There's you can see it just melts right into my forehead. And they did such a good job with very little knots. So if you wanted to wear this in an updo off your head, you're really going to be able to do that. I honestly really am impressed with the improvements that Belle Tress has made in their lace fronts. They used to have very naughty looking lace fronts, and they've done so much work on that, and they've improved it immensely. So if you had Belle Tress wigs a few years ago and you didn't like the lace fronts, I do think they've improved them, and they are much better now. Let's take a look at that cap. So you've got your lace front, you've got your mono part, then you've got your soft ear tabs with the bendable stays, you've got a non-extended nape, and then you've got the bra strap adjusters. These don't always stay tight when you cinch them. They can be a challenge to get them. So if you're someone who has to cinch in your Belle Tress wigs, or any wig that uses these kind of pull adjusters, then I encourage you to just have a needle and thread on hand, put one little stitch holding that in place. Really, it's like a stitch or two. Just loop it around a couple of times, tie it off, and that will hold that in place for you. It'll be really a simple fix, but it can be a challenge. So when I take this wig off, I just want to show you how low of density that is. I mean, when I part the hair, it does not take much for you to see through that cap. Now, you might be thinking that is a worry, that is too low of density. I do not find it to have too low of density, but I will say I don't think it could have much less without you worrying that a little bit of a breeze would blow the hair enough that you'd be able to see the wefts. So this one really is kind of the lowest density that I would like to see in a wig and still feel comfortable. And then look at that great curl pattern. It's definitely one that for some wig sisters you're going to have to find a way to give it a little bit of lift in the front if you're like me and you like a little bit of volume. Put her back on and get her situated. And because these fibers are kind of so smooth and so silky, I am finding them to have a little bit of static to them here in the super dry weather that we're having. It's been below zero for like in the single digits for temperatures or below zero for a few weeks now here. So it's super, super dry. And this one I have struggled just a little bit with that flyaway kind of staticky feel. That is something you can combat really easy with a little bit of product, a little bit of wig hairspray, spray some on your fingers and just sort of run it through the wig so that you can just put a little coating on those fibers. Not enough to make them really dirty or really change their appearance, but enough that maybe it will be able to handle that dry staticky air if you're finding yourself dealing with that. This one, I think I had a piece of fuzz there. This one is definitely tuckable. So because of that low density, you can absolutely tuck it. For me though, the struggle with tucking this one is because the cap fits me big, these ear tabs come way down on me. They come way below my ear. So the top of my ear is here, kind of up here. The bottom of the ear tab is down here. And so what that means is it's going to be a little bit of a challenge for me to tuck it because it's kind of blocking that. And it's going to be a little bit of a challenge for me to wear glasses with this one because, again, I don't get the clearance that I need. Now, there's lots of ways around that, but if you're a full-time glasses wearer and your measurements are similar to mine, please keep in mind that you may struggle with glasses with this one. You may have to wear the arms of the glasses over the ear tabs, something like that. But for someone whose head is a little bit bigger, those are probably not going to be as low on you, and therefore you might not have as much trouble. I do get really good coverage because of how big this cap fits me. So that's good news. Let's talk about the color. Cola with cherry. This is one of my favorite Belle Tress colors. I love this color. A whole lot. I think it's just beautiful. It's a red without being an in-your-face red. It's got kind of burgundy tones to it. I think the base is probably a 6. The rooting is quite dark. Belle Tress loves their dark roots. This rooting is probably a 4. And because this is a little bit darker, it doesn't really look black. But occasionally, like on Mocha with Cream, that rooting is probably the exact same rooting as this one, and it looks a lot darker because that color is a lot lighter. So this is a very dark root, but I think it's very appropriate for the color. And then I think you've got a base of a 6 in here. And then you've probably got like a 33. I definitely think you've got some vibrant reds, really well blended in here. Let you just kind of linger on it for a second. I think there's kind of a chocolate cherry thing going on, mahogany, a lot of just gorgeous, gorgeous colors in this piece. And it is slightly dynamic. You definitely, if you get up really close and you stare at it, you can see the various hues in here, some copper, but it's blended well enough that it doesn't look streaky or highlighted. It doesn't even really look like a fashion color because of how well they blended this. So for my wig sisters who love a good auburn, love a really deep chocolatey cherry, not, you know, sometimes when I think of chocolate cherry, I think of very fashion color, where the The chocolate is very much separated from the cherry and visible highlights because, and violet. I think a lot of other wig manufacturers, their chocolate cherry has a lot of violet tones in it. This one doesn't have any of that. It's a beautiful, beautiful, rich, deep auburn. Really a pretty color. So I highly recommend it if you like your dark auburns. I think it's a classy color, and it's definitely a flattering color as well. So what do you guys think of this one? I am kind of torn between really loving the fibers, loving the waves. This is one of my favorite wave patterns, and wishing it had a little bit more volume and a little bit more permatease. Now I tell you that not because I'm trying to sway you one way or the other. I tell you that because first of all, I'm in a relationship with all my wig sisters who watch me all the time. And you guys, as you get to know me and you get to know what I like compared to what you like, it will eventually help you to make some decisions. You will eventually learn that you're either very similar in taste to me, and whenever I say I like something, if you get that wig, you like it. Whenever I say, it's not my favorite, and you get that wig and it's not your favorite, then you start to learn, okay, when Denise has an opinion on something, mine seems to match. Or you might have completely opposite reactions. When Denise thinks something is too low poof, too low volume, I know that's going to be perfect for me. So I do try to share my opinion that is a little bit different than some other reviewers out there, because I'm here to kind of be a partner with you on this. I'm not trying to convince you. So I am not saying this is a bad wig. I think it's a cute, cute wig. I just think it needs a little more volume and a little more poof for me. If you still want it and you think that might be your issue, some of the things you can try are dry shampoo, some kind of a texturizing spray like that. When you spray that at the roots and you really kind of dirty up those roots and mess them up, it will have a little more volume. You are going to be very limited with how much volume you can get on this one because it doesn't have permatease to hold it. But that's one thing you can try. Steam, you can steam up the front a little bit. You can take steam underneath right here and get a little bit of lift. Again, without permatease, you're not going to get a substantial amount of change, but you can get a little change. What I do like is that it doesn't hang in the face terribly. When I go forward, all of this does come forward, but for the most part, normal everyday wear, this isn't going to bother my face. It's not going to hang in my face too much. And there's always the option, because of this lace front, to take these and pin these up a little bit. That will give me a little more volume in the front and keep that out of my face. So really, really cute. All right, everybody. Let's get outside. I will show you what this looks like outside. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know. And if you have this particular wig, share your thoughts on it, your experience with it, pros and cons. Just help your wig sisters who are struggling and they're just not sure if they should buy this one. The more information they can get, the more they'll have everything they need to know to make a decision. Talk to you guys soon. All right, we are outside with Cola with cherry. Get way over to the side here so you can see this color. I have got bright sunlight. In the summer, I can give you guys kind of shaded and sunny looks. The sun is so bright. But in the winter, I have a lot of trouble. So it's just kind of luck of the draw whether I get diffuse, cloudy, sunny or full-on sun. And today it's full-on sun. But there's just nowhere for me to go in my yard to get shade because of the amount of snow that I have to traipse through. This color is, I think, one of my favorite Belle Tress dark brunettes. It's so beautiful. And I really hope it's coming across. And then you've got the rooting. All right, you guys, there you go. A minute of just staring at the color. Talk to you soon. All right, everyone, I am here to do the out of the box for Vienna Roast. She just came. Vienna Roast in the color Cola with Cherry. I did pull her out of the box and took all the packing out, but that's all I've done. I haven't taken the tag and I have not even put her on. Usually I put a wig on before I do the out of the box. I've not done that with this one. So here we go. Let's try right out of the box. All right, so this is what we've got straight out of the box. Right away, I can see box hair. She's got some kind of weird lumps and bumps, really flat right here. Even though there's not a lot of permatease, just kind of really kind of smushed. You can see that. The waves are just really smushed as well. So we get a wig out of the box and here we go. Now we got to figure out, what am I going to do? Do I like the style before I can mess with it and make sure that she's going to spring to life and all of that? So like I say in all of my videos, but I try to think about this section as more for the beginners who don't have a lot of experience. And that's why I kind of go a little bit more teaching in this one. But essentially, you're going to look at it and you're going to decide, do I like the color? Let's just start there. Can I do this color? If the color is a no-go, then there's kind of not a lot of point in doing much else, except it can be helpful to say, would I like it in another color? Because you can always send it back and reorder it. Then you're going to say, but then at least you know you're not going to mess with it for sure. Do I like the length? So you kind of have to look at it from all sides. I believe this one's got a little bit, it's got some little something in here. I don't know what that is. A little bit of an A-line, maybe slightly an A-line, very, very slightly. So you're going to want to look at the back and just make sure, do I like the overall length? Do I like this wave pattern? What I have found with Belle Tress wigs is some of their kind of wavier, curlier styles are really choppy and messy, and some of them are a lot more kind of uniform and organized. So you've got to decide, do I like that? I love this wave pattern. This is the wave pattern that I love. Kona has a much choppier, disorganized wave pattern. That is not my favorite. I know that Kona doesn't really work for me great. This one though, I really love. Do I like the length? Do I like, what else? You know, looking at the lace front and just those kinds of things that are, you know, deal breakers for you if they don't work for you. Poof and permatease. This one doesn't really have any permatease. You're not going to get a lot of lift out of this one unless you're going to use steam and product, and even then it's going to be hard to get a lot of volume. So if you're someone who loves big, full, voluminous hair, you need a lot of sort of top lift, this one's not going to do that for you, and you might decide it's not the style for you because of that. On the flip side, you might be overwhelmed a lot by hair and you might not like that poof. And so you get this one and you put it on and you say, oh yeah, that's the volume I'm looking for. Very little. So those are the things you're going to decide. And then when you have made your decision and you've said, okay, I'm going to work with it. I'm going to, you know, overall, I like all of those things, kind of the hard to change things. Then it's time to take that tag off, which I'm going to do. And now you're going to start shaking it out. So you always have to shake a wig out upside down. I don't care what the style is. I think every one of them needs that. You need to wake up those fibers. You need to loosen them off the cap. Start separating them out. So I like to shake shorter wigs, shoulder length and above. I shake very vigorously. I get my hands in here and I start sort of fluffing at the right at the cap. The more permatease a wig has, the more I'm going to do that. You know, something you can do is you can take your wide tooth comb and just run it gently through the underside to start separating out those fibers, giving them a little lift. This is the kind of wave pattern that I think needs some gentle combing. Some curls and wave patterns I would not comb and I would just finger style. But this one, I think, needs it. And that's going to be personal preference, and experience is going to tell you that. I will tell you though, the more curly a wig is, the more you comb it, the more relaxed that curl will become. Some wigs that happens more than others. So be careful about combing out a wig until you're certain how you want that curl pattern to be. Look at that. Already she's starting to come alive. I like that, how that wave, it softened it, it organized it. It's not so separated anymore. It's got a little staticky. It's really kind of dry in here, so it's creating a little bit of static. Still, I think there needs maybe a little bit more lift here. Like I said, I'm not going to get much because of the lack of permatease, but I'm still going to hang this one upside down for a while and see how much more I'm going to be able to get. So that's sort of the next step for me with just about every wig. Every now and then I get one that's just perfect and I put it on and wear it for the day. Most of the time I like to hang them upside down. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this and I'm going to hang it by the tag with one of my laundry hook clips. I don't have one in here right now, but I always have them linked in my Amazon store, which is linked below. Any products that I love, I link there. And just kind of let it hang. You have seen the rest of the review, and now you know what I had to work with. Thank you. Where's my remote? Thank you so much for watching this part, and let me know if you have questions. Let me know if these out of the boxes help you, and if you're missing anything from them that I could go into a little bit more. Thanks guys for watching.